Welcome back, modelers. So right now we're doing a very important part of this whole build process. We're finishing up the deflector dish and housing here. So here we are. It's all assembled. So what I've done is I've used, to reiterate, I've used SMDs for the RCS thrusters. I painted these in silver and then yellow. The silver is the light blocker, and then they've been glued in, so they're ready to roll. I used the lid from a travel hairspray that my wife had, and I put the bicolor LED in the center. That's an amber/blue, and I painted the inside in a silver so that it reflects the light a little bit better, which it actually does. And then I've got it butted up against a drilled out hole with a piece of paper in there, so it's right up against it, which creates our hotspot, and that's what we get. So that's about to go on there, and we'll have our deflector dish. So everything's hooked up. I've actually got all the cabling down through the pole, and it's all hooked up down here via the power supply, so nothing's hooked up in the front anymore like I've been doing. Most of my decals are on, which you saw in the last video, and I'm still working on assembling the warp nacelles, so that's where we're at right now. So I figured I would get the decals on the deflector housing and get it attached so that I didn't have to worry about that anymore, and then it's just going to be odds and ends decals for the secondary and primary hull, and then I can actually clear coat this and set it aside and focus on the warp nacelles. So it's actually looking pretty good, I think. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, but yeah, it's looking pretty sharp. So yeah, for just a throw together Enterprise A with nothing but a kit photo etch and using the Aztec decals and whatever paints I had laying around, looks pretty good, I'd say. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'll be back in a little bit when I get this attached and all of the decals on, and we should have a good looking secondary hull here. So I will be right back. It's all installed. It's actually just dry fit right now, but boy does it look good. Anyway, one of the things that I ran into that I was expecting as a maybe, but it was pretty bad, was it wanted to mount a little too high because of my little jerry rigging in there, which didn't happen on my other one. And I kept wondering, why didn't it happen on my other one? And then I remembered I had the rod mounted back here, so I didn't need the rod up here, so that piece in there I cut it short so that I could fit everything. So for this one, it's still in there and it still works, but I had to hack out part of it, which doesn't bother any of the lighting at all because it's actually blocked by the rod hole. So I actually need to put this back in, and a wire just stuck out, and yeah, I just ruined everything. That's what I get for trying to show you guys stuff. But anyway, yeah, this way works, but you have to kind of do a little finagling. So just keep that in mind if you're deciding to do it this way. If you're mounting your prop rod back in the back, then it's not a big deal at all. But if you aren't, then you got to make sure that this right here clears the mounting hole right here. So just FYI. But anyway, I'm going to get some decals on this and get this thing glued on. So I'm also not going to glue it with anything more than maybe CA glue. I'm either going to use CA glue or canopy glue or something like that. I'd like to be able to get it back off again. In case I lose any of the lighting in there, I can easily replace it. So that's one of the things in my first one that would be really nice, is to be able to replace the lighting in the secondary hull and the primary hull. So I'm going to make sure I can still kind of get in here if I need to. So anyway, I'll be back in a few with some more decals put on. Be back in a minute. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a while. It's probably been a few months since I had an update, and what I'm updating right now is this. Ooh, chiller grills on the warp engines. They're finally at least done adequately. I've done both of them. They both light up pretty good. So The tape that I used to mask them was this stuff. This is, I believe, a Tamiya tape that I got at Hobbytown. It's really, really small stuff. It's 1 millimeter. And I was able to mask off the 5 lines and get them painted up properly. So yeah, it's starting to look good. I apologize that I haven't been doing updates lately. My wife had surgery, and life has been just kind of in the way of funds. So now that that's all over with, we're back at it. So anyway, that's what I've been. That's the update that I have, rather. The ship still looks good. It's been sitting here warp engine list, though. I need to get some warp engines on it for it to look complete. But yeah, we're getting there. This particular warp engine is completely done as far as the wiring goes. I need to clear coat the chiller grills and then get them mounted in, and then I can start buttoning this one up and start getting all the detail work done, like filling in the seams and whatnot. The other engine has not been started, so that one needs to have all of the wiring done. And as you can see, there isn't a whole terrible lot in here. Let's turn the light off so that we can actually look in here. There's some lighting in the front, 2 spotlights in the front. When the warp engine is on, one of them aims at this little emblem here, and one of them aims kind of up here at the side of the saucer. So you can kind of get them to sort of aim that way. They're never perfect, but it's kind of neat. You can get it to self-light that way on a model kit. I used some blue LED tape here. A lot of people do it off to the side so that you don't get hot spots, but I'm finding with this double density tape I don't really get hot spots in there at all, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. And then I have my strobe light in the back. The one LED I have not put in yet is the one that goes through for the RCS thruster, and that will go in very shortly. So the bummer about this is every single piece of this is on a different system. So the LED tape is one system for your warp engines. This light is on your system for your flasher, and these are for the power being on, as well as the RCS thruster. So you have 3 different systems going to each warp engine. So that's fun. Keeping track of everything. You can see on the strut here all of the all the wires coming out. That's because there's 3 different things to hook up. So we're making some progress. So I will be back shortly. We'll have a little more done. I'm going to try to get the other engine done here as far as the wiring goes, and we'll see if we can start getting them buttoned up and maybe mock them up a little bit, see what things are going to look like. So hang tight. All right, welcome back, everybody. As you can see, the blue lighting is lit up really well. It's really smooth. There's not much in the way of hotspots. There's a little bit of one here, but I can take care of that. What I usually use for my hotspots is a bit of cotton underneath. I actually did that for the Impulse deck and for the Impulse crystal as well, and it works out really great. You get a really nice smooth light. So I also did that in my warp nacelles. You can also get around it by mounting the light up in the top, or kind of a way where it's not directly in the chiller grill, and it'll work as well. But for me, this actually worked best, where I just put it in the back, shining outward. It's usually a little brighter that way. But yeah, just putting a little bit of cotton in front. I've gotten all of my lights done, including my RCS thruster, which is just a little tiny SMD. You can barely see the thing. And then my lighting up front, the 2 spotlights, is done as well. And my flasher also works, although it's not hooked up right now. But yeah, everything here is hooked up and working beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one completed, wired up and done. Where's my... Here it is. The RCS thruster, I mean, the wiring in this thing is tiny. It comes out, and that's where it hits the resistor, and where it meets up and then goes on out. So yeah, just tiny stuff. And I have it so that it's out where I can put the fin around it, and then once it's in there, I can kind of push the wiring back in as far as I need it to go, and it should ride in there pretty nicely. So Yeah, it's turning out good. The chiller grill was my least favorite part to do. It's always really difficult to get them masked to where there's no issue. So if you have problems with that, don't worry. We all have problems with that. So just do the very best you can, and if you got to redo, you got to redo. But in my case, they finally worked out. They actually look better than my prior one by quite a bit. So I'm actually kind of excited about that. So I will be back momentarily, and we'll finish up these nacelles and get them closed up, and then the real fun begins. So hang tight. And there we are with both of them lit up. So they look really good, including the spotlights at the front. So it looks like they are ready to close up now, finally. Woohoo! So the nacelles are going to be attached to that soon. So as you can see, both the RCS thrusters are lit up. I've got the little fins all prepped with a bit of it light blocked, so we'll get a nice little shine through there. That ought to be neat. So yeah, I'm really getting excited. So anyway, back with more in just immediately. All right, here we are. We are puttying and sanding and puttying and sanding and bleh. So these nacelles had a bunch of stair steps and high-lows and all sorts of things, as you can see here. Here's where I've puttied. I'm using the Bondo Spot Putty for this because it's a little more. You're able to kind of build it and sand it smooth a little easier, and kind of make some of these issues vanish a little easier than with the Perfect Plastic Putty. The Perfect Plastic Putty is really great for filling little gaps and things, but this is more of a problem where it steps up from one spot to the next. So this is with one pass of putty and sanding, and as you can see, there's still a bit of a line there. So I'm gonna have to do it again on both sides. In some places it's disappeared pretty good, like right here. But like here, there's actually a low spot, so I'm gonna put more putty in there and try to sand it so that it's less noticeable. And also down here, there's a lot of issues with the little details. Here, I've actually done a little more sanding right here because I had some more issues. So I'm about to apply more putty and see what we can do. But yeah, this is the fun part. The fun part of the nacelles. I've forgotten about how bad these were. It's like one of them is smaller than the other. One half is smaller than the other, just slightly. Just enough to make it fun. So I put some masking tape over my chiller grills to keep them from getting damaged or ruined from the putty. So yeah, this one here I got to sand and see how I can do with it. This one I've got to apply more putty and keep going. So this is going to be a bit of a process. But yeah, the ship wants her nacelles. So here they are. So this is probably a pretty good place to wrap up this video. We got a lot done on it. We got the deflector housing on. We got the nacelles assembled, chiller grills painted, and quite a bit ready to go. This video took a little longer to get out because of life. Like I mentioned, my wife had surgery, and my job's been a little bit extra painful. But every once in a while, I get in here and do a little work on it. So I'd like to finish it up soon because there's several other projects that I've got laying around that I'd like to finish. Like for instance, what's this pile over here? Why, this is from my Fine Molds Millennium Falcon. That's about half done. So these are all the sidewalls and things. So I'd like to finish that one up and actually do a video series on that. Even though it's about halfway done, we can finish it up and kind of go over the painting process and weathering. So that'll be kind of fun. But in the meantime, I got to finish up this Enterprise and get it all done. So we're on the home stretch, which is great, but it's a long home stretch. So soon, quite soon. But anyway, I will catch you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Leave a comment if you have any suggestions or want to mention anything on it. I hope you guys are enjoying the build series, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.